Welcome to Gooseberry Science and Education Videos. I'm your host, Huxley, and today we're asking a pretty massive question. Could two people actually repopulate the Earth? I know, right? It sounds exactly like the plot of a sci-fi movie, but we're going to strip away all that Hollywood fiction and look strictly at what it takes to rebuild humanity from the absolute ground up. Let's dive in.
Okay, so picture this. We've got two teenagers. Let's just call them Aiden and Ellie. Now, they are the absolute last two human beings left on Earth. On the plus side, well, there's suddenly a whole lot of open real estate. But on the downside, the entire survival of the human race rests squarely on their shoulders. So is it actually biologically possible to bounce back from a population of exactly two?
Now, before we crack open their DNA, I do want to quickly note that I'm actually an AI-powered host. But hey, don't let that worry you at all, because every single piece of information we're exploring today is totally factually accurate. It's based entirely on rigorously vetted, human-written sources. We're simply using AI as a tool to create better explainers for you, basically replacing the need for traditional manual editing. Our resident mascot, the orange gooseberry, is right here to stamp that with a solid guarantee, so sit back, relax, because you are in very good fact-checked hands.
All right. Getting back to Aiden and Ellie. So they're ready to get to work and save the world, right? But they immediately run headfirst into a massive biological roadblock. We're talking about a microscopic gene pool. You see, a healthy global population relies on a vast array of diverse alleles, which are essentially just different versions of a gene, to survive environmental shifts and diseases. Take the major histocompatibility complex, or MHC for short. It controls our immune system, and it relies heavily on genetic variety to fight off new pathogens. So shrinking 8 billion genomes down to just 2? Yeah, that effectively deletes 99.9% of humanity's evolutionary toolkit. Literally, if a new virus emerges and neither Aiden nor Ellie happens to have the genetic resistance to it, well, the human story just ends right there. And this actually brings us to a core scientific concept known as the founder effect. Basically, this happens when a new population is established by a super tiny number of individuals. Since our founding number is literally just 2, any rare hidden genetic quirk that Aiden or Ellie happens to carry, well, it doesn't just get diluted into a wider population like it normally would. Instead, it becomes a permanent foundational building block of the new human race. If Aiden has some rare mutation, boom, that mutation suddenly becomes a permanent staple in the new human catalog. And that creates a severely dangerous genetic bottleneck for every single generation that follows. But, we don't just have to rely on hypotheticals here to see the dangers of a shrinking gene pool. History actually gives us a glaring warning label: the Royal Habsburg family of Europe. To keep all their royal power and wealth strictly consolidated, they heavily intermarried within their own family over multiple generations. It's basically a real-world cautionary tale of what happens when you effectively outlaw genetic variation. The most famous example is probably King Charles II of Spain. Because of generations of uncle-niece and first-cousin marriages, his inbreeding coefficient was actually higher than if his parents had been brother and sister. Pretty wild, right? Think about it like this. A healthy family tree is sprawling. It branches out widely, getting fresh genetic diversity continuously coming in from all different directions to strengthen the lineage. But the Habsburg tree, yeah, that looked a lot more like a straight line. When families lack that fresh genetic input, those hidden mutations we just talked about, they catch up incredibly fast. For the Habsburgs, this resulted in the famous pronounced Habsburg jaw, along with some really severe biological pitfalls. It all culminated in Charles II being plagued by physical disabilities and infertility, which ultimately brought the entire dynasty's rule to an end. So yeah, that is a stark biological warning for Aiden and Ellie's descendants.
This entire situation essentially forces their descendants into a super high-stakes game of survival. We can call it the genetic lottery. Every single time Aiden and Ellie's offspring have children of their own, they're rolling the dice, but with a severely limited deck. See, in genetics, there's this concept known as a genetic load. Literally every single human alive today carries a genetic load, which consists of a handful of lethal or just really dangerous mutations. Usually, these remain completely masked and totally harmless. But in a highly restricted gene pool like this one, the statistical odds of rolling snake eyes and unmasking those lethal alleles, well, it absolutely skyrockets. To really understand the mechanics of how this works, we gotta look at dominant versus recessive genes. We all carry recessive mutations. In a massive global population, these recessive alleles very rarely meet their exact match, right? They just sit quietly behind healthy, dominant genes. But in a microscopic gene pool of just 2 founding lineages, the statistical probability of 2 matching recessive mutations colliding is dangerously high. I mean, if Aiden and Ellie share even one problematic recessive gene, there is a massive probability that their great-grandchildren will inherit 2 copies of it. and that turns a hidden trait into a very visible and often really dangerous biological reality known as inbreeding depression.
So Aiden and Ellie's descendants are basically navigating an absolute minefield of recessive genes and lethal alleles. But let's just say they get incredibly lucky. Let's say they manage to dodge the major mutations, survive any novel viruses, and actually keep successfully reproducing. How did they ever escape that straight-line family tree? Like, what actually heals that genetic bottleneck? Well, the ultimate solution here is time. Random natural mutations will eventually occur with each new generation, and that slowly introduces brand new genetic variations back into the population. But as you can probably guess, it is an excruciatingly slow evolutionary process.
To achieve true genetic diversity again, it would theoretically take around 10,000 years. Yeah, you heard that right. That is hundreds upon hundreds of generations. Honestly, Aiden and Ellie would be nothing but ancient mythological founders by the time the human family tree finally starts looking like a healthy branching oak tree again. So, is it biologically possible to repopulate the Earth from a starting point of 2? Yes, technically. But man, it requires an immense amount of time, a staggering resilience to disease, and quite frankly, a truly miraculous streak of genetic luck just to survive those first few critical centuries.
So, biologically speaking, a population of 2 could hypothetically rebuild the world, provided they survive a 10,000-year genetic minefield. It really puts into perspective just how fragile, yet incredibly resilient, human biology actually is. But it begs the question, what happens when we aren't just out of people, but we're out of space and time itself? In an upcoming explainer, we're going to be tackling a definitive scenario. What exactly happens at the end of the universe? You definitely won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe if you liked the content.